And so, ladies and gentlemen, it starts. What started out as Trump making a lot of noise and the world basically laughing at him, as has been the case for, well, basically his entire presidency. Ever since he came into office in 2016, most people around the world have laughed at him. They've thought him a buffoon, someone who doesn't know what he's doing. And then when he came back into office, this time around, with everything that he's already achieved in the White House and continues to do, the tariffs were the one thing that most people pointed to and said, "Ugh, no one cares. Like, look at all these countries absolutely defying America." Very specifically here in South Africa, a lot of the South African public thought to themselves, we don't need America. Screw America. Look at all these other countries that's telling America to go eat rocks. We'll just not play along. Well, as it turns out, South Africa may soon be one of the few countries in the world standing on the outside looking in. The European Union just yesterday signed one of the worst trade deals in the history ever with America. And why did they do that? Well, to understand this, you have to understand how these trade deals work. It's not the politicians of Europe that went to America and said to Trump, hey, yeah, sure, absolutely slap us with everything you've got. It's the corporations of Europe that went to the politicians of Europe and said, oi, boys, if we lose America, if America were to slap 20, 25, 30% tariffs on our goods, we go bankrupt. We will not stay in Europe given those levels of tariffs. And then the politicians go to America and they say, right, this is the minimum amount of tariffs that we can absorb and that we're happy with. Is this okay? And Trump makes a bunch of requirements known, and ultimately the deal goes through. Europe fundamentally just agreed to a bunch of stuff. Military purchases of 750 mil, gas purchases of 700 and something million, 600 million in terms of investment, as well as complete tariff-free access to the European market, which is actually insane because Europe is one of the most protected regions in the world. Where is South Africa? Well, as the Commerce Secretary for the United States, Howard Lutnick, put it on Sunday, no extensions, no more grace periods. August 1, the tariffs are set. They'll go into place, customs will start collecting the money, and off we go. Even China is currently in desperation mode, trying to get a deal with the United States. And very specifically for China, this kind of makes sense. Roughly 80% of the entire Chinese economy is reliant on American companies and American people buying their goods. If China were to lose American business, China would go bankrupt tomorrow because it is a producer nation. It doesn't have its own internal economy to fall back on. So China is desperately trying to figure out if they can at least get to a tariff truce, not necessarily a tariff deal yet, but at least a truce where they say, okay, fine, you do this tariff, we'll do this tariff, and hopefully we'll meet somewhere in the middle. Of course, for America, this again doesn't really matter because America doesn't export nearly as much to China as what China exports to America. And usually in a trade war, it's the country with the deficit in trade that is favored. That's just how it plays out. So every single country in the world is desperate to get deals done with America. And more countries around the world are now actually signing these deals, getting these deals actually signed through. What is the South African government doing? Well, we're buying mansions in Constantia. We're basically wasting money. We're dreaming up new ways of wasting money, like a 10.4 billion rand loan from Germany in order to switch to green energy. That's on top of the $7 billion loan that we got from the World Bank just last week for other reasons. No one really knows because it's supposed to just be infrastructure spending or some bullshit like that, which is just code for we'll give it out to other people. This is what the South African government is up to. While everyone else is actually desperately trying to get deals done because they're trying to save their economies, and even Europe is now folding, the South African economy is going, well, we don't care. We'll buy mansions. We'll not lock anyone up for state capture. Sorry, I'm just showing you guys some of the research I've been doing for other videos today. The state capture one is insane, just FYI. But yeah, apparently this is what we're doing. Or we're and this I just found out about 2 days ago. I completely missed it over on Daily Investor. But for those of you that don't know, we might soon pay double income tax in South Africa thanks to the proposed NHI bill that government seems to be going on absolutely full steam ahead. They're not going to be stopping on that. I'll have a video about that, but I'm still researching quite a lot of stuff because I'm trying to look at other countries and their healthcare and what that costs and if it's comparable to South Africa. So as soon as I have my research done, I'll have that video out just sort of telling you how, because I don't even think double income tax is what it is going to be. I think it's going to be way more than that. I think if South Africa wants to, at least based on what I've so far found, if South Africa wanted to provide full world class healthcare to all of the citizens in the country, the 7 million taxpayers of this country would have to pay almost two-thirds of their entire salaries to the government in order just to provide healthcare. That doesn't include any of the other services and amenities that the government offers. It just includes the healthcare. But, never mind that. We're not even signing trade deals. We're dreaming up NHI schemes. We're dreaming up loans from Germany. By the way, the reason I point out these loans, the trade deal with America will desperately harm the GDP of this country. It will lead to hundreds of thousands of people without jobs in the very, very near future. We need more people in jobs. We need more businesses to grow the GDP, to be able to absorb the interest that come from these loans, because all loans come with insane interest. South Africa is already paying 1.2 billion rand a day in interests. Now we have a new loan of 7 billion rand dollars from the, I think it's $7 billion, could be rand. No, I think it's dollars. Sorry, I covered it last week. But 7 billion from the from the World Bank. Now another 10.4 billion rand from Germany, another loan, more interests, and this is for the green economy. Green economies around the world make everything more expensive. So not only will our electricity get more expensive and more unreliable, but we'll also have more interests to pay. Our GDP will suffer because we have no trade deal with America. Our GDP will suffer because we have green energy that is too expensive and too unreliable. And we'll have to pay back all of these loans. Listen to this. Ramaphosa just yesterday, or over the weekend rather, but yesterday I covered it, said that debt is now the new slavery and we should stop getting into debt with Western imperialist nations. And here we are once again getting into debt with Western imperialist nations, Germany here, for another 10.4 billion rand, because apparently that's just what we do. We say and then we do completely different. Because, hey, at the end of the day, the cadres need to eat. Let me know in the comment section down below, guys. What do you think of this? This is insane. It's insane covering South African politics and just looking at what's happening around the world and just realizing that, oh, well, never mind. South Africa is not a serious player in the world economic system. As always, hit the like if you liked, dislike if you didn't. To all of the patrons, a massive shout out. Thank you so much for your support. Also, the YouTube channel members. To become a member and support this channel and support what I do here, hit the join button right below this video or click the link in the description down below to become a patron. And then just, if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe button, smashing some comments. Well, just completely messed that one up. But yeah, leave a comment because it does help. And YouTube then promotes this video to more people so that more people can see what is actually happening in this great nation of ours. As always, be good to each other, be kind to each other, and I'll see all of you in the next one. Peace.